There's a place inside, you gotta let it shine, let it go. You don't need to hide. Soul talking. Soul talking.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to episode 2 of Soul Talking, my interviews, where I'm chatting with students from the past who've been on my courses on animal communication, and have a soul-to-soul talk with them, really, about their lives, their journey that brought them to onto their spiritual paths, and towards the animals even deeper. Today is my pink edition episode, and I'll explain why. I have the very, very beautiful and bright and dazzling lady. I'm put that way, but it'll go the right way. Janie McGuigan. Hello, Janie.
Hello, thank you so much for asking me.
Oh, Janie, you just like light up the screen being here. There's an energy that I get from you that I felt from the very first moment that I met you on the courses. And it was absolutely a no-brainer that when I was looking for students to bring on to interview, you had to be one of them because you ignite my energy with the color. There's something about it and you that's just so vibrant. So you're here. I've made it a very special pink episode. I'm wearing pink. It doesn't look like it, but I'm doing it for you. And all the promo stuff for this episode in vivid bright pink, because that's how I see you. I'm very much about colours, and I see colours in people. And for me, seeing that bright pink in you is this nurturing and this love that just emulates from you. So you're a pink person. Yeah,
Thank
you are.
you. Thank you.
Janie, so as I've said, everyone, I'll introduce you to Janie now. Janie's a very bright and colourful person, soul. And as I say, I immediately connected to her on my course. Janie lives in Leicestershire, so she's not that far away from me. So we can always have a chin wag and a cup of coffee at some time. I don't know why you've never been round, but
Probably
we
I'm
make
not.
you joy.
Yes, if you asked me round, I would be round
Good point. Good point. Janie, as I say, lives in Leicestershire. She's a dog lover, but of all animals and nature. Her dad was a farmer, so she spent lots of time on a small holding and on a farm growing up. Now, wait for it. Janie is a Reiki master, an NLP practitioner, an EFT practitioner, which is emotional freedom tapping, which I'm sure Jenny will discuss with us in more detail. She's a clinical hypnotherapist, and she's breathwork and meditation instructor, which is fantastic. I can't wait to find out about all of this. And she's also done a bit of work with feet in foot health as well. So you know what? Wow. So varied, Janie. It seems like you were really searching for something there throughout your life. Janie says that my whole life and the hurdles that I've had have taught me to trust and in the animals and to turn to the animals. And now she knows that in some way she wants to work with the animals. And I guess that's what brought her to the courses. But Janie, welcome.
Thank you so much. And let me just say, I'm so grateful and so honoured to be on here.
Oh,
That first
lovely.
moment when you popped your little face round the door at the village hall, and I'd got there early because I was so a little bit excited, a little bit anxious on that course, and your little face popped round and went. Just that moment, from that moment, I knew I'd come home. But going back.
Yeah,
honestly,
tell us about your life. You've had such a varied life. I'd love to know, and everybody watching, more about it. So go for it, please. Tell us more. It's so interesting.
Okay. So so my father was a farmer, and animals were very much part of our life, obviously, you can imagine. And at the age of 5, my mum and dad split up. And I went to a private school for the first 5 years, and that was all fabulous. And even though my mum and dad split up, I still went to that school, and it was all okay. And it's not like for anybody, the mum and dad splits up. It's never ideal.
It's difficult. It can be difficult, can't it?
It's definitely a less easy time.
I get that.
And then my mum brought us back to Leicestershire to be in her home county, and I got put into a state school And that was kind of where the trouble really started. So by this point, I'm 10.
Right.
I come from Northamptonshire, where we say bath and grass, and we've come to
See,
Leicestershire.
I say that, and I'm in Leicestershire, and I try to say Bath and grass, and everyone goes, "What are you saying that for?" And I'm like, "Well, if you go
Exactly,
to Bath, you'll say Bath."
exactly, yeah, exactly. So
Do you say garage?
I do say garage. Yeah,
Oh, see, I knew we'd get on.
this is this
This is
connection.
what it is. There's a
Thing,
connection.
there is absolutely. So, so I'm just this weirdo that speaks differently, and I'm, and now I embrace my weirdness. But back then, a 10-year-old, you want to be part of something,
Of course you do.
and so here I am. I'm in Leicestershire. I'm very different. Everybody's got the friends, and so the bullying starts. So from 10
Right.
until I leave school, I'm being bullied, and I go home at the end of the day, and I have this beautiful German Shepherd dog called Maxie. And I've kind of like missed out all the way through my life. We've always had dogs, we've had cats. Um, my dad, he had to give up farming professionally due
Right.
to ill health, but he always had a small holding, and we had a Guernsey cow, we had pigs, and we had Cade lambs, and I
Oh, how
goats.
wonderful.
So we all had
Jamie, how
all of this.
wonderful.
It was just amazing. And every weekend I'd go to my dad, can I have this? Can I have that? Can I have rabbits? Whatever you want. You could have literally everything.
Oh, you were so lucky. So
So
many kids don't get that.
no, exactly. And I try to do the same for my son. So we had the tortoise, we had, whatever. Anyway,
Love
so
tortoises.
I do. He's in hibernation
Yeah.
in my loo downstairs now. He's actually in hibernation downstairs in the loo. So um yeah, so everything was always about getting home, and whatever had happened at school, Maxie, our lovely German Shepherd, she was there for me. She was comforting. So all the way through, I didn't really make friends. I was different. And even then, I'd got this love of spirit because my grandma was a psychic medium, and
Wow. So
she
it
was
was kind of
amazing.
natural for you growing up with
Yes,
being spiritual.
yes, because my gran would tell me all these amazing stories. And
Wow.
so I kind of miss those out really, but from the age of
Well, go
11,
back, Janie. Go back.
okay, so from being an egg, I wanted to be a vet. That was what I always wanted to be,
Yeah.
either a vet or on television. That
Wow.
that was my thing. And so from the age of 11, I used to work for John Craven. If you remember John Craven, the original John Craven at Chine House in Cossington.
Yeah, we had the conversation about him. I remember going to him with my bird when it broke his leg.
Oh yes, brilliant equine vet, really old school, like
Yeah.
all creatures great and small. And I used to work
Yeah.
for him 2 evenings a week, and I used to do all the summer holidays. And in the same village was where my gran lived. So I used to finish school, get off the bus, go and do the in the practice, and then I'd stay at my gran's, and she would tell me about spirit, and she'd show me her crystal ball, and she'd explain it
She
all.
had a
And
crystal
a
ball.
crystal ball, I've now got it. And
Have you? Wow.
yeah, yeah. And so that was all natural to me. So I was even more weird, you can imagine.
I love how you call
And
it weird. I love
it's
how you call
really
it weird,
weird,
but I
isn't it?
get it. I know what you mean. It
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
To a lot
I
of
just
people,
thought,
it is weird. She's out
yeah,
with the fairies, that one.
yeah, exactly. I was just odd. I was like, don't talk, she's odd.
But we love
Um,
you anyway.
and I love being weird. It's great now.
Me too.
It's taken me so long to get to that.
Hmm.
So yeah, so this kind of went on, and then it came to leaving school, and I still wanted to be a vet, but I hadn't really got that much support at home. And academically I could have done it, but it was leaving home and going to
Yeah.
uni and do the A levels first. And so I thought I need to just go and get a job.
So this must have been the bullying. This must have been some. Do you think the bullying had some impact on you wanting to go to further education?
Oh,
Surely.
I had no self-esteem at all. I had very little self-esteem because I didn't fit in anywhere. I wasn't really, I didn't know where I belonged. I
Oh,
didn't
bless
really
you.
have a sense of belonging. All I
No.
knew, the only time I was really happy was really I'd get home. We'd got horses. By this point, my mum had married somebody that we'd got horses. I'd come home, I'd run in, I'd get changed, and I'd just go and be in the field with the horses. I was rubbish at riding. I used to fall off all the time. that was not my forte, but I'd just go and stand with them and be with them.
Oh, I wish
And
I'd known you when I was younger. We'd have been buddies.
absolutely, absolutely, yeah. And so it was, you could tell it was really impacting me. And on the surface, I mean, by this point, at 16, my mum sent me on the Pat Keeling modelling course. I was very slim. I'd got a bit
Oh,
of an eating disorder by then, you know, so I was incredibly thin. It was all about how you looked. I had no worth about who I was or identity of me. It was about,
self-worth.
exactly. So I did the Pat Keeling modelling thing, and that kind of exacerbated the eating disorder because you've got to keep really thin.
Yeah.
And I went and worked at Par & Co in Leicester. You remember that, selling the jobbers and all of those kind of things.
Yeah.
And, but I just like got no idea what was happening, what I was doing.
But do we ever really at that? I mean, how old are you talking about at that point? Last
16,
year?
17. Yeah, exactly. Just 18 months ago, you know.
Yeah.
And so but deep down, I knew I wanted to work with animals, but that couldn't really happen. So that
It was there in the core of you.
yes. So I just went and worked at Pars, and then I went and did a bit of this and a bit of that. And then my mum bought a dress shop, and I went and ran that for 5 years. And I was modelling, and I was modelling underwear, and I was
Oh my
doing bits and
gosh,
bobs.
Janie, racy
Yeah,
or what?
exactly. I've not been doing that for a few weeks anyway. And modelling flip-flops these days. And so yeah, just bits, you know, just not just literally drifting.
Yeah.
You name it, pretty
It's
much.
direction, isn't it? It's finding direction so difficult. I think it's so difficult when we're bullied and we grow up after being bullied, and we naturally are pulled towards, we gravitate towards the animals because they don't judge us.
Yeah.
And then what happens is we find ourselves at a spare end and we don't really know what to do with our lives.
It's we're
Searching.
searching for that sense of a self, and and we don't have that, do we? We don't have that sense of, we don't know where we fit. We've never fitted in anywhere. We've never belonged to anything. There's not a group like us. We're not fashionable. We're not, you know, we can't fit in anywhere.
We're not
So
strong enough for that. We're not strong enough in our own identity and what we believe in to actually do something about it when we're very young as well.
Exactly. So yeah, so that's a kind of, I think when I look back, I see that all those years of looking and looking, I was always looking outside of myself, but really deep down, it was always within me. And that answer was there right from being a little girl. Really, what I wanted to do was be with the animals. And actually, always coming back, I'd always got an animal with me. I'd always got a dog with me at the very least.
How wonderful.
And spirit as well. Always, you know, my gran would always tell me these stories. We'd always do things. And I started going to spiritualist church. Sort of.
Did it comfort you? Did it comfort you?
So much.
Even at that age, believing in spirit?
Oh, so much.
The animals and spirit.
Amazing. I thought, if this is all I have got, that's enough. That's okay.
I love that. If this is all I've got, then I've got enough. Then I've got all that I need.
Exactly.
So you went off to spiritualist church.
So I'd go to spiritualist church, and they said to me, "Oh, you've got this spirit guide." And it turns out it's my great grandpa that I used to look at a picture of, and I used to think, I love you. I love you so much. And it's him. And he still works with me now.
Did you know him when he was alive?
No. He died about, I think, 16 years before I was born. But I used to look at him, this picture in my grand's living room, and think, I love you so much. But never knew, even as a little girl. You just
felt it.
I just felt the love for him. And even now, you know, I just love him, and he works with me. And he was a really good horseman, really keen horseman, and had his dogs and everything. So yeah, so there was always animals. My grandfather was a dog trainer, so there was always that. There's always been animals around me.
With all the animals around you.
Holidays, I'd go and walk the dogs for my grandpa, or I'd be working at the vets. whereas the children would be meeting up to play, I wouldn't. I'd be dog walking or cleaning the cattery, or that's just what it was.
Yeah. Oh, do you know what? I mean, this is about you, but I can see so many parallels here. So many parallels, but not just with what you're saying and how I feel and how my life was, but so many other people that come on the courses. It's amazing. Go on, please. Don't let me interrupt you anymore.
So I mean, you know, I don't really want to kind of go into it, but into that detail. But I suppose growing up, my emotional needs weren't met necessarily.
Yeah.
I was always very left out. I
Yeah.
always felt different. I was always
Yeah.
on the outside looking in. Even as an adult now within my own family, my
Yeah.
family will tell you, my family, bless them, I love them dearly. But when they have these do's, they'll say, "Are you coming?" And they know that I won't go. I'm always on the outside looking in. Even
Gosh.
Christmas Day, I wanted to be here with my dog. And I went up and had an hour with them. And then I got back to being with my dog because I
It's
wanted to be here with
amazing.
her.
But
Yeah.
it's amazing. It's amazing because you don't come across like that. I don't know. I've used that word before, gregarious. I think it's an all right word to use.
Yes,
Quite
of course.
out there with people and communicative and really in there engaging. And yet people like us that are like that, actually, we like our own space, don't we, in time?
We need that calm. We need that time to reconnect and be quiet and
Rebalance.
yes, and just earth ourselves and
Yeah. Yeah.
calm. And so yeah, so I got married, I had my gorgeous son, and
Oh.
that I know he's just absolutely lovely. He's
How old's your son now?
26. And he's a pig farmer. He's an organic pig
Oh,
farmer.
wow. Wow.
Yeah, he's just gorgeous. But because of my lack of self-esteem, I never took those opportunities. I never followed really a path that I never fulfilled my potential. I
Right.
never, because I hadn't got that on the surface. Yeah, like you say, I'm
Yeah.
gregarious, I'm
Yeah.
confident.
You
How I
are.
come across, that's what
Yeah.
people think.
Absolutely.
Um, but underneath that lack of self-esteem from that bullying, that not fitting in, that's always there. That's just that. Yeah,
Yeah. It's always, I always talk about letting go and moving forward, and you'll understand this with a lot of the work that you've trained and done. But it's incredibly difficult to do that.
it is.
There's
Yeah,
always niggles there ready to remind you.
absolutely. And at each level, so I find that you work on each level. So you start, so you think, oh, I've cracked this. I've released that, I've let that go, and you're doing really well. And then the next level, there's another little thing that, oh,
Yeah.
okay, oh, you think you're doing well, do you? And then something else comes in. So I think
Yeah.
it's a journey. But I think,
I think you're
yeah,
right.
you sort of all of a sudden something will come in. And so I didn't quite make the right choices necessarily through my life based on that lack of self-worth, that lack of self-esteem. But I had
Yeah.
my beautiful son and he is gorgeous. And I made some really rubbish choices in my life. But that's
We
fine.
all make rubbish choices. Come on, girl. It's
Yeah,
one of
yeah.
those things.
No regrets. They are what they do. I've done them, and that's absolutely
Je ne
fine.
regrette.
Exactly. And get you. And so then oh gosh, I worked at the school. I worked for William Hill, the estate agents. I was reading too many Johnny Franken books and thought I want to work in the betting industry, so I went and worked for William Hill.
What?
Um,
That's so weird that you would do that.
I know I'm weird, and uh, and then they wanted to train me up, and I was like, oh no, I don't want to train. No, no, no. So then I went and worked for the school with special needs, which was lovely. Um, and
Yeah.
then I trained as a florist and had my own florist
See?
and
Colour.
oh yeah,
Colour.
and creative
Yeah.
and nature
Oh, it's
and
just wonderful.
beautiful. Yeah, loved that. Absolutely loved it. Married to my second husband, not the best choice. Probably not one of my best choices. And so again, I'm perfectionist, which is anyone that ever comes to me and says they're perfectionist, straight away I know we've got trauma, we've got childhood issues.
Yeah.
perfectionism is always a sign of overachieving. We're trying to prove something to ourselves. We're not good enough. We don't feel good enough here. So we're trying to show. So I'm a high achiever, perfectionist. And so I'm getting up at 3:30 every morning to go down to the market to pick the flowers up. I've got my son at home. He's 11 years old. He's still, I'm like, I'm one of these mums. I'm doing a full English breakfast every morning. Taking it.
Oh, thanks for not inviting me. Didn't invite me round for it, did you?
Anytime you can come round, I'll do you a full. You and Matt
Yeah,
are
I'm
welcome
gonna have.
anytime.
I'm gonna take you up on that.
Yeah, anytime. And I'll even do it organic for you, or
Yeah.
veggie. Are you veggie?
Yeah, I'm kind of getting to that place now. Yeah.
That's a tricky one, isn't it? I'm a little bit funny
Yeah.
about
Just give me a plate of grass. I'll be quite happy.
that.
That'll be my
Okay.
breakfast.
I can do a nice coffee. I can do a decent coffee.
Yeah, that'll be
Real.
right. Decaf.
So,
Anyway, yes.
okay, back to focusing. So, yeah, so I'm doing all this, and I'm trying to be the best mum I can be, and I'm trying to be like this great businesswoman. Although I'm a rubbish businesswoman because I'm just overgiving. We're overgiving. We're over delivering, and I've got this husband that's not the best husband, and I get diagnosed with ME. And a lady came into me one day, one of my clients, and she said, "You always do what you've always done. You'll always get what you've always got."
Say
And
that again. I like that saying.
if you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always got.
Right. Wow.
And I thought,
Makes sense, doesn't it?
do you know what? I can't continue like this. I'm literally wearing myself out. I can't keep up with this. And within a month, I'd finished my shop and I'd left my husband. And that's 10 years ago. And so I was like, okay, what am I going to do now?
You must have felt. So hang on. Did you felt lost? Did you feel lost?
No, I just thought, I don't want this. So what am I going to keep doing it for?
So there was something there that you were trusting in, some higher level,
Yeah,
for
absolutely.
sure.
I'd got no money coming in. I'd got a mortgage. I'd got my son. I just thought, well, if I keep doing what I've always done, I'm always going to get it, and I don't want it.
Yeah.
Just go for it. What's the worst that can happen? It can't be worse than what I've just gone through.
Oh,
And I went
I
to the
love
doctor,
that.
and I said, what am I going to do with this ME thing then? How do I get rid of it? And they're like, well, you just got
I
to
love that. I'm gonna get rid of it.
get rid of this, don't I?
So positive about it.
Oh, let's crack on. Let's. What am I
You're
going to
not
do?
a wallower, are you? That's for
I've got to get
sure.
on with it. What
Yeah.
is it? You know.
Yes, go on.
Nothing you can do about it. You just got to
Right.
avoid stress. Well, I was like, oh, okay.
Gosh.
So that's how I got into the meditation. So I was reading up how to avoid stress.
Right.
And so I started doing the meditation and learning to meditate. And that's why I then went on to learn to be a meditation teacher, because I thought, this stuff's really good.
It really helped you. It
Yeah.
really helped you.
It really is. This works. Like,
In what ways? What did it do for you? What's the biggest thing it did for you, meditation?
Just calmed me down. It let me connect. It gave me, not all the time. Sometimes I felt, well, that didn't make any difference. And then, but the more I did it, the more I stuck at it. And then I could play with it. And sometimes I just needed 2 minutes. And sometimes it might just be sitting there, or sometimes it might be walking. And just, just that being in the moment, bringing my attention into the moment. Sometimes we just need that. Just that couple of minutes.
Doesn't have to be so complicated. People, I've talked about it before. People see meditation so complicated at times, but it's not.
No, you can make it fit you, can't you? You don't have to sit there on top of a mountain for an hour.
There's not hard, fast set rules, is there?
No. So, but the bit I'd missed was quite a few years prior to that. A lady had come into my shop, into a shop when I was working in a shop with this lovely lurcher I'd got, and she'd commented on my dog, and she'd said how lovely she was, and I said,
"This is Red.
This is Red, my beautiful Red." And I said, you know what? I said, I feel so cruel because I bring her to work with me, and she's sick every time she's in the car, and I feel so cruel bringing her, but I can't leave her at home. And she said, would you like me to give her some Reiki? And I was like, what is Reiki? And she said, well, it's just universal energy. It's just energy that comes through me into the dog. And I was like, okay. I'd never heard of it.
Hadn't
And
you?
no,
It's quite a new thing.
it was about, oh gosh, probably about 2004, something like that.
Yeah,
When I
back,
heard of it.
yeah, it started to come into the sort of
Yeah,
like the main arena kind of thing.
yeah. It was probably about 18 years ago, something like that. This woman said to me. So I was like, oh, okay. And she just put her hands on my dog. And, you know, from that moment, she was never sick. She never salivated. She never got upset. And I thought, what is this? I want to be able to do that. I want to be able to do that. And that was it. I put that out there. I thought, I want to be able to do that. And that was it. Never really thought about it again.
Because you had some proof. You see, that's what people search for, is proof. And it's so hard because it's not tangible, this energy. Well, we can feel the energy, a lot of us, light workers.
Yeah.
But for you, seeing that so early on in your understanding of that energy, wow.
And also, I think with people, if I said to you, let me give you some Reiki, it's universal energy. I can help you. I can make your headache go. If you trusted me, how do we know it's not a placebo? And your headache could go because you trusted me. But with a dog, there's no placebo because the dog doesn't know what we're doing. That's absolutely, I mean, we know it works because we're Reiki masters, so we trust it. But if you didn't know that and someone else was watching on, they would just go, well, it's because he trusts us.
But there is something to be said for placebo, because
we
are, as a human being, as a vessel, so powerful at self-healing, and the intention is in the power's in the intention. So we can take anything and make it work.
Absolutely. And I'm not absolutely, because our mind is so powerful.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is,
Reiki is a process. I mean, it's an ancient form of healing.
But what I'm saying is, in that moment, you couldn't deny it was anything other than real.
Yeah.
You couldn't argue that point because it had worked. Someone could argue that it's a placebo. Someone could argue it's just because I told you, the person. But with that dog, you couldn't argue that. She never was upset afterwards.
It was real.
Exactly. And so, yeah, placebo is really important, of course, and our power of our mind is really important. I'm not dissing that.
Yeah, I don't like the word placebo, but it's the power of the mind. I think what we channel it into. But talk to us about Reiki, because you're a Reiki master.
Yeah. So then going back, so that's why I'm going back then 10 years ago. No job, no husband, house, some. Oh, what am I going to do now then? Oh, better go and see if I can get myself a job, but it's got to fit around my dogs. So I'm not leaving the dogs. So I went into the school and said to the school, you got any little jobs to have me back? And they said no. And I said, okay, then can I just come and volunteer? Because I needed to be doing something.
Yeah. And, it's good for the mental health.
Yeah. I thought, I've got to go do something. And I thought, they'll soon give me a job when I get in that school.
Of course they will, with your personality. It's a no-brainer, love.
So I thought it was only up the road. Perfect. Went in after a week. The head said to me, you're like a ray of sunshine. Here's a job for you. Done. And then I was talking to this gentleman that lived just down the road, and he was saying he's a Reiki master. Are you? I said, oh my word. I said, I'd love to do Reiki 1 because I'd love to give it to the dogs. He said, I'll give you, bearing in mind, the money situation's a bit dried out.
Yeah.
I'll give you Reiki 1. I'll give you Reiki 1. I'll do you Reiki 1. So he did me Reiki 1.
And you're like, what does he want in return?
No, not at all. He is a lovely guy, but I stupidly didn't connect it to doing it with animals, and then I was doing it for people, but not getting pleasure from it. Not
you weren't getting the pleasure, the same.
No,
right?
Because that's not what I'm meant to be doing with it.
No.
So
Yeah, I mean, it's good for humans. I mean, there's a
I
whole,
know
it's
it's
massive
amazing
in
for
here.
humans. It's
Yeah.
amazing for humans, but that's not what I wanted it for.
No,
That's not my journey. So yet
wasn't.
again, I'm getting sucked into doing something that, and then someone said to me, "Oh, you know what? You'd be really good at doing. You'd be good at doing some people's feet because you're so chatty." And I was like, "Oh yeah, I suppose I could do that." So there I go and train to do people's feet. So I then start this business up doing people's feet.
Big
Then I,
difference, isn't it? Reiki and then human feet.
although I would give people Reiki, well,
Yeah, I
when
was
I
going to say.
I'd be like, give them a little bit of Reiki anyway. And
And they'd be
then,
like, she's amazing. That foot practitioner's amazing. Don't know what she does, but she changes everything for me. And you're like, my Reiki hands. I love it. I love it.
so, and then did my Reiki 2 with me the year after, but it still didn't fit because I was doing it with people.
Yeah.
So I didn't really like progress much with the Reiki. And then what did I do?
Did you do animal
Oh,
Reiki? At any point did you train in animal Reiki?
no, didn't train in animal Reiki. I was doing it for my own animals. Wasn't thinking about it for other
Yeah.
animals.
Yeah.
Just
I mean,
literally,
it's universal across all energy, across all species. But of
yes,
course, there are courses that people can do
yes.
specifically around animals.
Yes, and I have actually booked on for one, an online one, because it's not a different. Yeah, I have booked an online one, which
Wow.
I'm doing. So I have booked to do
Oh,
that.
brilliant.
But it's only the same symbols, isn't it? It's only the same
Yeah.
symbols that we've already got. So it's
Chakras, just they're all roughly in the same
yeah,
places.
yeah. So but it was just funny how I was kind of still missing the point of it being for animals, which is what
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
really
I get
wanted
it.
to do. Um, and I've had a lot of therapy myself, and I'd been doing a lot of work on myself, and I was like seeing how much work we need to do on ourselves.
Mm.
And basically, then I studied in NLP, clinical hypnotherapy. I'd already done the meditation, I'd done breath work, the EFT, because that tapping, oh,
Can
it
you
is
talk?
amazing.
So I was going to ask you about this.
Mm.
First of all, in a bite-sized nutshell, can you tell me about what NLP is?
So that's neuro-linguistic programming. It's how our brain creates pathways by our language, really. So it's
Right.
when we use negative language, when we keep saying things negatively about ourselves,
Reaffirming.
yeah, absolutely, and we're creating little neural pathways in our brain.
Yeah.
So you probably, I can't know that you remember on the course when we said something about something being difficult. I always change that to less easy. Always say
Yeah.
less easy, because our unconscious mind doesn't hear the negative. It never hears the negative. It only hears the easy. So it doesn't hear
Mm.
less easy. So when we keep saying things like, I don't want to be fat, say, for an example, like for me, because I'm a big girly, and I might say, oh, I don't want to be fat. My unconscious mind, that is 95% of your mind, by the way, and is
Wow.
listening all the time.
Gosh.
That's our programming, but it's listening for us to program it. It hears, I want to be fat.
Yeah.
It doesn't hear that I don't. So when we say things like that, I find that really hard. I find that a real struggle. We change that to I find that less easy. Our unconscious mind hears that as I find that easy.
Yeah, this is
And
what
then
Matt trained in this.
yeah,
And I was on one of his courses where we worked on confidence and where we had to kind of restructure or rearrange it all in our heads, or maybe we broke it down so that we had some kind of whenever I felt nervous, which for me was riding a horse,
right.
he did this where I had to press on a certain area
Yes.
and
Okay.
remember what I'd put in there that was a really positive experience, which was going on holiday.
Yeah. So you're anchored. So
That's
basically
it.
you're anchored.
Anchoring.
So he would have already anchored that amazing feeling in of being on holiday. So
Yeah.
you think about something that's fabulous, or if you need to feel confident, you
Yeah.
think about the time when you felt so confident.
Yeah.
And then you anchor that in. So it would be on a non-dominant hand, or it might be on an earlobe. Okay.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
then So and there's a point at about 10 to 15 seconds where it's really powerful, and you just apply pressure. And then every time you find really confident, or you're feeling really happy, or just really positive emotions, you just press on that, and you literally keep loading it up. So every time you
Wow.
feel that, you load it on, load it
I
on.
need to do more of that, because that's so awesome. Again, it's the power
Yeah.
of your intention. If
Yeah.
that's what you're doing, intending to do, it's so powerful.
But you're creating new neural pathways in your brain,
Right.
because you're making that
Yeah,
connection.
it
Oh,
makes
you're
sense.
testing that again. Oh, that's releasing those feelings. Oh, you feel confident. And again, you're talking about how powerful the mind is, how powerful the brain is. So, um, so then when you're feeling in those moments of not feeling confident, or you're worrying, you
Mm.
press that. Oh, it's those feelings of confidence, and your body will be flooded. So
Yeah.
that's anchoring. Yes.
It
Yeah.
really helped me. And I talk about on the course about having the parrot on your shoulder. From my background in counselling as a trauma and bereavement counsellor, we get stuck in patterns, and sometimes it's really useful to visualize something that's causing the problem for us. And for me,
Yeah.
it's like I see it as a parrot, or I create, or I get people to visualize that the problem is actually a little caricature or a Disney character
Yeah.
that's not actually that scary and frightening, and actually quite sweet and cute. And then we just make it go smaller and smaller until it pops, it's not there anymore.
Yes.
But we
Fabulous.
have this parrot, don't we? A lot of people have this parrot on the shoulder telling them, well, you can't do that. Well, you'll be
Yeah.
no good at that. You'll struggle with that. You're this, you're that. This is what we're talking about.
And it's just trying to keep you safe, really. It is only
Right.
just trying to keep you safe, because it doesn't
Mm,
want us to do anything outside of our zone of comfort, because that keeps us safe. So you
right.
kind of have
Okay.
to thank it, really. Or thank you for keeping me safe. But actually, I'm ready to have a go at something else. I want to expand. I want to have a go at something. I
Yeah.
want to try this. This is
Well, you did.
exciting.
You did,
Yeah.
because then you moved on to EFT. So, what is the difference?
EFT.
Tell me about that. Tell everybody
Oh,
watching.
EFT. Everyone has to go have a go at this.
Okay.
Okay, so this is one of the things that the trauma experts use massively for PTSD, but
Right.
there's a lot of science-based evidence for this. So
Okay.
they'll use this for the soldiers when they have been repeatedly through trauma, but you can use it for
PTSD.
anything. Yes, yeah. So let's say, and you can literally use it for anything. So you can use it. Let's say you've had a less easy experience for something, or you're worried about something.
Mm.
And so I'm going to use my nephew as an example. My nephew came down to me yesterday. He's got his exam. He's 15. He's got exams next week. And he said to me,
Yeah.
Auntie Janie, I'm so worried. I've got these exams coming up next week. And he said, I'm just so worried about them. And I said, tell me about what's happening. And so he's got this worry. And basically it's all inside. And it can be anything. It can literally be anything. And we have these pressure points. It's like acupuncture basically.
Mm.
And we have these little meridians, and we have these pressure points,
Yeah.
and they're mostly on our face, and there's certain points, and there are a few on our bodies as well. And
Right.
we tap on these points whilst we say what it is that we want to release.
Right.
And
Okay.
so what they've done with people with trauma is they have scanned their brain, and they've shown that parts of the brain that should be activated aren't, and the
Okay.
parts that should be calm are activated.
Right.
And that's to do with the trauma and how it affects the brain, because you know that trauma damages the brain.
Yeah. Yeah.
So so they do the brain scan, and then they've done the tapping and rescan the brain, and they found that the reverse has happened. So it's calmed the part of the brain that was activated,
And
and then
repaired.
and absolutely, and then started to activate the part of the brain, prefrontal
Wow.
cortex, which is responsible for feeling happier and feeling the emotions, and that's more activated. So that's why we
Wow.
know this is science based. And so with my nephew, we went through all of these feelings, and it's like peeling an onion. So you take that first layer off. So you might come to me and say, oh, I feel anxious about riding my horse.
Mm.
It's when I get on it, I feel anxious. And we'll tap through, and we'll say, I feel anxious when I'm on my horse. And we'll do a round of tapping, and then something else will come up. And you'll think, oh, where's that come from?
Well,
It'll be
you
something.
become vulnerable in a way, but in a safe environment with it, because
Absolutely.
you're having to expose what it is you're vulnerable about, a bit like what we do on the course. And it's like we have to expose that if we're going to work and do something about it.
Absolutely. And
You
that's
know
why,
this, and I know this, when we've spent so many years putting a shell cover over ourselves to fit in.
yeah, absolutely. And I think this is what puts a lot of people off doing any kind of work, is that
Mm,
they're so frightened of becoming vulnerable. But
yeah,
actually, we don't make any movement. We don't make any changes if we're not prepared to look inside.
you're
And
so right.
we'd much rather blame everybody else around us and keep looking. Well, if they
Yeah,
change, if they were different, if they
yeah.
behaved like that, I'd be much
Yeah.
happier. But that's not how it works. We've got to look inside and do this
We're,
work.
we're not responsible for how other people
No,
feel.
no.
We all have to take responsibility for how we feel. Nobody can really make it. I read about this. Matt talks about this. Nobody can really make you feel anything unless you let them.
Absolutely.
But it's very that's hard for people probably listening to this to go to accept that.
Yes.
It's a journey. It's a process to get to that point where you can actually say, yes, I now live by that. It's a
Yes.
real process.
Yes.
Wow. So, well, that sounds really interesting. So that's emotional freedom,
Freedom technique. Emotional freedom technique. And it's called EFT or tapping.
maybe. And you actually do this now?
So
You work with?
so I do a lot of that. So I predominantly tend to attract clients. I mean, I do men and ladies,
Yeah.
but I tend to
I'll be
attract.
round in half an hour, love.
Okay, no worries. I'll get the fire lit and get the kettle on. I tend to attract men and ladies that generally have low self-esteem,
Yeah.
and we tend to sort of work on those not feeling good enough, because it's kind of where I've come from and it's what I've had to work on. And I think there's no better, is there?
You know what? This is such a big thing. Exactly what you've just said. People will engage with people if they feel they get it, they understand. And to truly understand it, you've got to have been through these situations
Absolutely.
and be authentic with it. And that's what I see in you. So yeah, I'll be around in half an hour, love.
Perfect.
But
Perfect.
seriously, I'll put some details on after the interview about how
Thank you.
maybe people can get in touch with you.
That would be amazing. Thank you. I've got a website.
Oh,
So,
right, okay.
yes, yes,
Okay, so what is your website? If you read it out, and I'll also write it later as well.
it's janiemcguigan.co.uk.
JanieMcGuigan.co.uk.
Yes.
Okay. And
And
if they go on there, are they going to get what? Because what about the hypnotherapy? Because this is one area I'm very, very intrigued with. I do believe in it.
yes. So I tailor all my sessions according to what the person needs. So I
Right.
don't think you can do a one size fits
Of
all,
course not.
because everybody needs slightly differently. So
Bit like feet.
absolutely. We don't talk about feet. Cut. No. So even when I do the feet, I end up like coaching, and
Yeah.
even when I'm doing that, but anyway, I do past life regression because I'm a massive love of past life regression and how
Yeah.
we bring issues with us, with lives, because
Yeah.
I'm a big believer in we've got a soul purpose, and each
Yes.
time we're incarnated, we've got things we've got to sort out, we've got to do, and we've got to achieve, and we've got to learn from. I do the oracle card readings, which
I
tend to
know.
be
Well, I didn't know you did that. And then when I met you on the course, you told me about it, and I went and had a look. And I go on there quite a bit and just watch. I'm quite mesmerised by it. But actually, in your confidence with it
well.
as well, and it's so. I feel like you're sitting in the hopefully how people feel watching this, that you're part of it. I feel part of it, just sitting there and like in your kitchen with you when you're doing it, and it's like I really love it. It's very nice. It's really nice.
Thank you. I mean, I drop a few of the Janie truth bombs. I do have a particular kind style of
You
coaching,
do.
and I'm not for everybody. And I like to be honest with people, and it's about accepting where you're at, and let's be honest, and we're not blaming other people. Are you ready to like accept
Yeah.
and take the
Do
bull by the
something
horns,
about
do
it.
something. Come on,
Yeah.
let's, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm saying, even with the oracle readings,
Yeah.
you know, I'm not going to sit there and go, oh, you know, they'll all say this is Janie Truth Bomb time, and
Yeah.
people love it. People do love it, and those that don't come back on. But I've not lost many, to be fair.
I think that's wonderful. We've got it. It's about coming from truth. It's hard for people to hear some things. It's the same with me when I'm doing animal communication. Sometimes there's things I need to talk to the owner about, the human about, that might not be ready for, but the animal wants them to hear. And I can't beat around the bush. It's got to just be said.
Yes. And how do they take that? When you say those things, how are they with it?
How do they take it? They kind of just, well, it's never as bad as you think it's going to be. I always find a way of telling them. I'm not going to be fully intense about it, but I will get straight to the point. I've got to. If this horse is like, I can't. I remember going out to two sisters, and they were not getting on and arguing quite a bit. And the horse turned around and said to me, you know, if they don't sort it out, please tell them I'd rather go and live somewhere else. In that situation, I guess it was a Janie Truth Bomb moment, because I turned round. It was a Rico bomb, big time, and just said how it was. But actually, it made such a big difference because it was the truth.
Yes.
And the truth is the truth. They know inside that's the truth.
Yes.
And that's the thing, isn't it? People will take it if they're ready to take it, because they're being honest with themselves, Janie.
Yes.
So that's where you're coming from. You're being honest. Are they ready to be honest with themselves and see?
Yes, absolutely.
So hit us with a Janie Truth Bomb.
Oh gosh, you don't need any Janie Truth Bombs because you're on it.
I don't today.
No.
It's so fascinating. It really is. And I could spend hours talking with you about all of this. I'm looking at my notes because what else did I want to talk about on the areas that I've got it about that. I think people understand Reiki. They can come to you for Reiki.
No, so I don't give Reiki now at all.
Right. But you are a Reiki master.
I am a Reiki master. And for me, I want to go down the animal Reiki route.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this is the thing. Sorry, just to say, this was the thing. So last year, I thought to myself, what am I missing? I'm missing something. And I was doing loads of work on myself, and I went and meditated, and I thought, spirit, what am I missing? Because I'm developing my mediumship as well.
Wow.
And I thought, what am I missing? And spirit said to me, it's because you're not working with animals. And I was like, oh.
So now you need to do something about that. So how did you find out about me?
So I said to my beautiful friend, Kath, I need to find an animal communicator. Loads of things like all came together, and things were happening, and I was finding things on YouTube, and I heard this thing about animal communicator, and I'm like, what is this animal communicator? And I saw loads on YouTube, and my friend Kath said to me, I know exactly the person that you need. And he's in Leicestershire. His name's Richard. And I was like, okay. And I had a look, and it was you. And I was
like, he likes pink.
And I was like, oh my God, he's just lovely. Look at the course. And because one of my dogs was poorly, I thought, I'm going to wait until she's passed away. And Spirit said to me, don't wait, do it. And so I emailed you, and you'd got a course coming up in October, and that was it. And I walked in.
That was last year, wasn't it? Yeah, last October.
And I walked in. I cannot tell you that weekend, and I still have the picture you took as my screensaver on my phone of me with your lovely Eloise, because it reminds me every time I pick my phone up of that feeling of happiness. It's like just that sense of coming home.
Have you got the picture? Have you got what?
Yes, I've actually got.
Oh yes. Oh my goodness.
That's my screensaver.
Oh wow.
Time I pick that up, that is like, oh, you took that. I didn't even know you took it, because I've got my eyes closed on it.
Yeah.
So I didn't even know you took it, but you posted it. I was like, oh, that's me on that. And
yeah. And the course was so you turned up. You said my little face. My little face looking around the corner like a little mouse.
Oh,
And then in you came. You seemed confident.
yeah,
Lovely
yeah.
group.
Oh, ladies were lovely. You and Matt were lovely. But it was just something about you. I was like
Right.
smitten. I was just smitten. There's just something about your energy. And for me, it's
Okay.
always about energy.
Yeah.
And I remember sending you a message after the course, and it was so sycophantic. But I thought, I don't care, because I'm just going to tell you what I feel, because that is me.
And I
I'm honest.
appreciated that. I appreciated that.
And I thought, you when you're honest, you have to be honest both ways. You've got to
Of
be honest
course.
whether that's really lovely or whether that's like not so lovely.
Yeah.
And just the whole thing, it was
Yeah.
easy. It was,
Mhm.
as in, I don't mean easy as in the coursework was easy. I mean,
Yeah.
it felt right. It just felt right.
Bless you. It's so kind of
Lovely.
you.
It just felt part of it. I felt part of it. I was like, oh,
Felt part of something. Is it important, this tribe that I keep talking about with people, to be around other like-minded people with such love for animals and such empathy?
this was like, I remember driving home on the Sunday night. We'd been at your yard.
Yeah.
This is what it feels like to feel part of something.
Oh, bless you.
And that
Took you a
really
long time.
just exactly, it's 53 years. And that was what I mean. That in that moment I thought, this is what it feels
Oh,
like.
that feels really emotional and so from your heart, Janie.
Honestly,
And I
that
feel that in my heart. I really do. To think
yeah,
that if that's made a difference for you on that level, um, that's wonderful because I remember searching. I mean, not much difference in age, and I remember searching to find my tribe and never felt like I fitted in. And it was only when I found the course with Sarah Coppin
yeah.
that I walked in that day and I felt like this is me. You just know, you just know. So the coursework, was it hard? Because come on, you're an intelligent woman. You could have been, you're quite academic. Do you need to be academic to do the course? You don't really,
No,
do you?
you don't need to be academic. You need to be open. You need to be open. You need to go in with an open mind, and
Yeah,
you just need to love animals. And
that's it,
I
isn't
was,
it?
that's it. I was exhausted. I was
Day one is
exhausted.
exhausting.
Yeah, yeah. But so full of love, so excited.
Yeah.
So the course is just amazing. And
Mm.
literally, I'm spacing every course that you've got. I'm literally coming on every single one.
You're coming back to
Honestly,
do the advanced course
I am.
in
That's
March.
in March. Then I want to do the mediumship one.
Yeah,
I'm coming on every single one you do. I'm just hoping that you introduce in different ones, because
yeah.
everyone I'm coming on every one.
I've got the colour course coming up.
Yes, but that's online. I want to do the
I
in-person one because
know.
I get to see you.
But you know what? I have to do things for people that can't get,
Yes, I
and
appreciate that.
it means I can reach out to people that wouldn't be able to come normally, and that
Yeah,
makes me happy. That
absolutely. Yeah,
makes me happy as well for those people. A lot of
yeah,
people aren't ready for a course. To be around other people as well. So, and they don't have to have their faces on there if they don't want to. So, I guess in a way they can be part of something.
absolutely.
And yeah, but no, we'll do something and get you down and do another one like that.
I'm just putting my name on every single one that you do, because your energy is just it is a bit addictive. It's like literally, I just want to
Well,
get next.
so's yours. So I just feel like we ping pong. It's just this is so
Yeah,
wonderful.
yeah.
So the day one, is there anything from? I'm just realizing the time, but is
I
there
know.
anything from?
Sorry.
I know, but all good things come to an end. I don't want it to end. But on the course, anything that you remember that really stands out from kind of the practical exercises? Did we do aura reading with you?
I
We
don't
did the
remember
colours
doing.
and ribbons.
Yes, we did. Oh, I know. And I thought, oh my God, I haven't got any ribbons. Still haven't been and got those. And I promise you I would. And I am going to go and get
Well,
those.
you've got time
Um,
till March.
yes, I have. Yes, I have. Did we do auras? I think we did do auras, but I can't remember.
But
I
you
can
kind of
remember.
do that.
Pardon?
You kind of get that
No,
anyway.
I don't do auras. I can't do
Ah,
auras. That's not one of my areas of expertise. Um, I could the practical, when we did the practical, and I did lovely Rainbow Deb's horse, Flo, her Flo.
Yeah,
I was so emotional, and
yeah.
I was like kept crying, and I was going,
Did
oh
you
my
not
God,
expect that? Did you not expect
no,
to feel the emotion?
no. And I was like kept
Wow.
crying, like, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry. I was like, ooh.
Yeah.
Yes, really felt the emotion, feel like from her horse. It was like her horse was bringing me the emotion and making me feel it.
This was from a photograph.
When we did the photos, that was the
And
first.
you're no different to me in that respect, because when I'm working every day from photographs or from items that belong to the animal, a lot of the time I get upset, tears are coming. It's a very emotional, it's not about not being protected. It's about having the gates open and the pathway clear for the animal to connect. And sometimes that can be very emotional,
Yes, doesn't
you
that wear
know,
you out?
that happens to me a lot.
But does it wear
I
you
feel,
out?
yes, yes, absolutely. It's not easy doing animal communication. It's
No.
very, very draining. Very, very draining. But when that's your life and your passion and what you're being asked to do by spirit, you do it.
Yes.
You know, I'm a humble worker for spirit as a vessel, and that's not about anything else.
No. No.
And I have to take that and everything
Yes.
that comes with it, but look after myself, self-love, protection, and come from that place. It doesn't surprise me that you felt like that day, but I'm surprised that you were surprised.
Yes. I think probably because I came thinking I probably won't be able to do it.
Yeah. Wow. And yet you were wrong there, weren't you?
Yeah. I mean, yes, I could do it, but I suppose I just thought, like everything, you think, oh, what if I can't? I probably won't be able to do it. I might not be able to do it. But because of the energy in the room and because of how you and Matt were, I thought, well, it doesn't matter. I'm just going to give it my best. I've
And you
come here and
did.
I'm going to give it my best, and that's okay. But you
Yeah.
you'd created that space where it was okay to do that,
Right. That's
and
important.
that's the difference. That's the
Mm.
difference, that I felt relaxed enough to do that.
And then that's lovely to hear. And then when you went out to the horses the following day,
Mm,
was that scary? Because
yes,
you've gone from learning all about the process and the steps
yeah,
and how we do it and meditating, and
yes,
then you're going out there, putting it into practice on the next level with an
yeah,
animal, with a person standing there waiting for you to feed back.
yes. So
How did it feel?
when we were first with the first pony, and
Norman,
everyone Norman, and we were and all standing round. It's quite a while. Well, I go to polo a lot, as you know, which we won't
yeah.
talk. But
Mm,
I'm not normally, and I do go and see the ponies, but
yeah.
but I'm not around a pony as in my own anymore.
No, but you're
So,
going and giving them some love when you go.
oh,
Do you
I
know what? Even
do.
though it's polo, the lady last week talked about coming from background about racing and
I did,
polo,
yeah, yeah,
and it's really interesting that. But the fact that we just do what we can wherever, and
yes,
if you're spending a few moments with those ponies
yes,
and giving them love and sending that out, that universal love, then that's
yes,
wonderful, Janie.
yes. Because I remember you said something on the calls about if when you see the adverts on television where there's an animal in distress, you can send love out to them. I
To the
remember
whole
you saying that.
species, yeah, the animal and the
And
species.
yes, and so even now, when I see them on the television, I always think of you, and I do that. Um, but uh, but I hadn't been sort of in that environment for a long time since I've been in that. So I felt awkward. I did feel a bit
Okay,
awkward.
yeah.
Um, but he was so lovely. He was such a lovely boy. So that was fine. And then when we got to have our own horse, and you gave me
Yeah,
beautiful Eloise, and then just the emotion and the sadness I felt
well,
with her when I spoke to her.
she's emotional and she has a
Mm,
lot of sadness and she's had a hard life and she's felt a lot of the things that you felt.
yes,
So
and I
bringing the two together.
and I knew that you'd put me with her because we kind of mirrored. I could feel a mirror there. I thought he's put me with her because we have got something in common. I
Well,
felt
you've
that.
overcome it. You've worked through so much, Janie,
I
and,
have,
and
yes.
and with your understanding and the training and what you've specialized in. You were the perfect person to go and show in on an energy communication. It's going to be all right, Ella.
Yes, yeah, she's beautiful. She's absolutely beautiful. I love
I'm
her.
glad that I'm so glad you had such wonderful experiences. Where from that course, I know you're coming on others,
Yes.
but what's next for Janie? I mean, you've got your work, Janie, that you're so passionate about, but what's next? Where are you taking this level of understanding with the animal communication? What's next?
So
What's your
I've really,
dreams?
okay, animal Reiki, and I think really practicing the animal communication. So for me to do more with the animals, so the Reiki and the communication sort of together
Yeah.
would be lovely. So
Where
some
do you want to
hands-on.
take it? Is there anything in particular? Where do you want to go to? What animals? Where? What species are you drawn to?
For me, it always seems to be horses and dogs. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm mad about dogs
you
and
are.
farm animals probably.
Oh,
I
but
think
that's wonderful. They need our help.
I know they do. So my son, yeah, as I said, is a pig farmer,
Organic pig
an
farmer. Yeah.
organic pig farmer, and he'll often FaceTime me, and he'll say this one's poorly, and or he'll message me, and I'll say send me a picture, and I'll send him or
Mm,
her healing.
yeah.
So yeah, it's an unfortunate part of farming industry, but
Yeah.
I still feel like I can send healing. Um,
I completely get it. I mean, I save, well, I didn't save. I took a horse that had already come out of racing and gave him a home. But there were plenty of other horses that I sent out healing to while I was there. I couldn't bring them all back.
no,
I couldn't bring them all back, but I trusted in spirit that the right animal that needed me would be the one that would come home.
yeah,
But my love that sent out through healing for all horses that had been in the environment that he had been in racing, not where he came from, because they rescued him and rehabilitated him, but the racing yard and the racing industry send out all that love every day from working with him. I'm reminded to send out love to all of them that I haven't been able to put in a lorry and bring home.
yeah,
And that's it. One small moment, tiny footprints, maybe in the
yeah,
bigger picture, but such worthwhile and powerful footprints that we create.
yeah.
That's what we've always got to remember, Janie.
Mm,
Janie, you are a look. I always say lovely or wonderful. I haven't got the words. I felt quite moved, quite emotional talking to you today. You are such a wonderful person. The energy, I think anybody watching this will agree about Janie and that energy. And I tell you what, I'd go and see her if I needed this specialized help in NLP or EFT. I would go to Janie because I connect. I personally, it's about who you connect with, isn't it? And I connect with that, so that's what I would go to. There's a lot. There's so much here to
thank,
digest. There really is. Thank you, and for
thank you.
everyone at home, thank you so much for being part of this, Janie. Agreeing to it. I know you say how you felt so humble or privileged that I would ask you, but I feel the same.
Honestly,
So,
such an honor. Thank you.
well, likewise. Thank you so much, Janie.
Thank you.
I think everyone's going to absolutely have thoroughly enjoyed watching this. Everybody, this is episode 2 with Janie, and next week we'll have another student talking about their lives, soul to soul, through soul talking. This series, but until then, I'm going to leave it as the last words with me and Janie. Thank you so much for being part of this, Janie.
Thank you so much for inviting me. Bless
You
you.
take care.
Thank you.